Well, howdy. Howdy, howdy, howdy.
We got a howdy today. I like it.
It's in honor of me being 1 week out from Dallas. Totally unintentional, but cool. Welcome to the latest episode of Wicked Unscripted, where we have unscripted conversations about some of the most popular reality shows on television. My name is Abigail.
And I'm Sarah Talks.
And we're here to break down the latest drama from the Big Brother 26 realm. And we're actually... We would think that I'd get through any intro without flubbing, and there never will be. But we are here with two very special guests, Sammy and Emily, who we have been loving on TikTok this year. If you don't follow them already on TikTok, you can follow Sammy at Ghostbuster Sammy and Emily at Emily and Little. And having so many great conversations, and I'm really glad to bring it here tonight. So we do have to kind of go a little bit backwards, and then I'll let you guys jump right in so I just stop talking. But where we left off last on this episode of the last episode of Wicked Unscripted is the week 4 HOH that was Cedric. Lots of drama went down that week. We left without any eviction, and at the end of the week, it was a Quinn HOH. Jesus Christ, my brain. Sorry. We left with the Quinn HOH, and then ultimately Cedric went out. Kind of a pawns go home kind of situation. Now I'll shut up.
And Quinn was not happy about it. It was not, and that's relevant for this week. So,
like, Quinn could have also just chosen not to like.
It's true. He had plenty of options.
Didn't have to be Cedric.
Yeah, I think this week really paved the rest of the energy of the season, because I felt like alliances were pretty set. I thought the collective was really gonna make it the farthest, and so that flip that early in the game shocked me, and we're still seeing the fallout from it.
And the thing is too, the Pentagon was spread enough in different groups in the house that they could have probably gone just about as far as they wanted to if it wasn't blown up that early too.
I mean, as a viewer, I'm happy because we don't want to see a steamroll alliance, and so I'm like, have her inner turmoil, it's terrible for your game. It's fantastic for our entertainment. So,
and this
the more entertaining it is, the worse it is for their game usually.
Yes, exactly.
This is the same week that we had the MJ Rubina super duper close finish in the AI arena where the cameras were not panned correctly, and I was guilty of thinking that Rubina had won, and I was like, for the win, and it was so embarrassing. So that was her first AI arena notch under her belt. That's also kind of important moving forward. And so that left Cedric on the block, really super duper vulnerable. T-Core and Chemo have been talking all week about wanting to use this opportunity to flip. And I feel like, I don't know, there's a lot to unpack there because they have really been at the center of the game, whether or not they wanted to show it on the episodes in the way that it's kind of panned out. And now seeing it fall apart, I kind of wish we got more of the Chemo T-Core kind of manipulation behind the scenes, because it would be a lot more fulfilling on these upcoming episodes, in my opinion.
But also in this week too, this was also the very critical week that T-Core and Chemo really needed to be more vocal to Quinn about Leah and his in that relationship and how fake it is, and they just really weren't. They kept saying they would, and then they wouldn't, and I feel like that is really important going into this week. And I know that we had a whole other week in between, but it feels like 2 weeks ago is directly affecting this week, and so it's kind
for sure. It's the trajectory of from when that happened since the flip, and I think it was an admirable thing to do for their game, but I think it was a little early. I know that they're close with Rubina, and maybe that's gonna get them through, but they've showed their cards now twice in a very public setting.
Pre-jury,
yeah, it's ballsy. We have some courageous house guests this season.
I love it. As much as I've been screaming at Tucker and Cedric whenever they're like, I will go on the block, put me up. I'm like, for fuck's sake, shut up. But
so
it is
many volunteers
it's been entertaining too. Like, I mean, I don't like that they're volunteering because I liked both of them, but it's like, sure, feed me. I don't care. Bring the drama.
Well, it's them saying over and over again, oh, as a resume move. Tucker said it in some of his interviews today. What resumes? What are you talking about? Who at the end is like, this person allowed themselves to go up? It's not like you're the Taylor Hale, I was up, I was constantly a target. You're saying I volunteered as a pawn and people should be nice to me because of that. Who has ever won Big Brother because of that? No one is talking about that.
No, I've been saying this the whole time. Like, Tucker has done some incredible things in the game. I'll give him that. But I'm not giving him any credit for comp wins or pulling himself off the block when he put himself there.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel similarly.
Someone in my comments said something like, I was talking about how I needed to see Tucker sweat. I needed T-Core to make the move. I needed to see what happened when Tucker, one, didn't get his way, but two, like, faced adversity. And they're like, well, he faced a lot of adversity during Cedric's HOH. And I was like, the fuck he did, because he volunteered to go on the block and he chose not to use the veto on himself. What adversity? Like,
not just that he didn't choose to use it on himself. He was warned by Cedric.
Yes.
Multiple times. They showed one time. There were at least 2, if not 3 different times. Maybe not full-fledged conversations, but like still doing the plan. And Cedric, like, my plan, I don't know about your plan, but my plan still go. So one of the moments that I keep thinking back about is, I can't remember, I think it was last week on the feeds. It was one of these last 2 weeks. Tucker and Cam had a conversation about how they've never watched the show before, that they also don't really watch reality television, which makes me laugh because I'm like, okay, so that's why Tucker doesn't understand. It's funny that he understands like the curse of the first walk-in, but like he doesn't understand pawns go home. But it's just interesting to think about because those two, and then
or the
Cedric,
5th HOH curse, or the unitard curse.
I don't think he knew about those two, and it's like you need to know. Like there's a lot more precedent than just like, oh, first person in the house.
I meant to pull the clip from our draft episode too, where I said, like, I just mark my words, you do not fuck with the BB gods this way, and he did.
I told you I wanted to make the risk because I really liked the idea of what he wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Not that I necessarily thought he was going to pull it off.
Because you're Bostonian.
Boss until I die. I had to rock with one of my boys. So that was who, and no offense.
Not Kenny?
Oh, sweet Kenny K. No. Respectfully.
I can't believe it. Kenny popped into our live last night, which was fun.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's a little bit of a jump scare.
That's wild.
It was cool, actually. I mean, it definitely caught me by surprise. Hello, but
that's
and then Lisa jumped in my live today.
So
fun.
Crazy.
I have only gotten Cameron from last season.
Oh,
in my lives.
I'm Lo Siento.
Well, and that's like Joseph's brother popped in the other day when we were on, and people were like, "Oh yeah, Joseph's brother," and people were like, "No, he's in here right now." And then I saw him in the comments, and I was like, "Hey, King."
That's great.
Angela's daughter Lexi goes into lives as well.
I like that. I follow her. I don't ever anticipate a follow back. Not like it's not the goal. I just hope she's doing well because I have seen, and one of our other favorite TikTokers who's not with us right now, Reality Alley, posted a really good video about like the treatments that Angela's been getting in the house. Like I told her last night, if I could retweet that, repost that every day, and it keeps coming up on people's feeds, I would live for it because like. That's actually all I can think about at this point is like whenever something happens with Angela, I just like am like, how are her daughters reacting? Especially seeing that one of her daughters posted being like, "We want you home at this point." She's not like saying, "Mom, quit the game." She's just like, "This isn't fun anymore." Like we thought she was going for the summer of her, like the best summer of her life, and it's become a nightmare. And it's like.
I don't know about nightmare. Like Angela's still very happy to be there. That punishment was rough, and it was.
I think it's just hard for them to watch.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, I imagine, and I don't think it helps. With the comments about her are just repulsive.
That's probably, if anything, I think is probably what is worse for them. Like I think there's every player's gonna get heat, but like the heat that Angela takes, especially from like the BB people on Facebook, are like,
oh my god,
Jesus.
It's brutal.
Well, and Joseph's brother reposted Allie's video and put like, this is so well said. Like, as a family member, totally agree. Sometimes it's okay to just like take a break if you are getting really worked up about these people on a reality TV show. Like,
right.
It's okay and I'm like, you're so right. Like, these are people in a reality TV show. You don't know them. They actually have zero impact on your life. It's okay to like go touch some grass, you know?
Yeah, it's okay to like not want them to win the season. That's fine.
And like, I think sometimes people, and maybe, I don't know, I think sometimes like people don't know the difference between you can like a person and not be rooting for their game. Like, that was me and Tucker. I have enjoyed watching Tucker all season. Did I think he played a good game?
No.
No.
Adore him though. I really like everyone in this house, and I've said it time and time again.
I agree.
Quinn was driving me nuts last night. Spoiler alert for anybody who might not know. Just things going on the feed, and there were things that he would say, and I'd be like, "Sir, I love you so much. You are at a 10. I need you to be at a 7."
Like, God, I know.
I mean, I sound like a broken record at this point, but I'm like, if the biggest problem you have with a house guest this season is that they're annoying, not that they're racist, problematic, misogynistic, a horrible human being all around, then I feel like we're doing pretty good. Like,
I think people want to sometimes find that in people. It's like, people
exactly.
aren't
100%.
necessarily perfect, and they're going to have some flaws, and it's okay. Like the way Tucker acted this past week, which we'll talk a little bit about, when the veto didn't go his way, I was definitely not thrilled. I was like, "Sir, this is not fun. Please, attitude adjustment immediately."
Yeah.
But also I anticipated it from him. We know him as a person at this point to some degree. It was kind of an expected reaction. So it's like,
it's not enough for me to like turn and like hate him all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
of course not.
We've all had our whiny bitch moments. I've had whiny bitch moments over charcuterie. So like, I feel Angela in this moment. I'm just saying, like, I feel like we all have moments where like, it's not a good look for us. It doesn't mean we're problematic. I don't think he's a narcissist. I don't think, I feel like he had a pity party. We all have them. And I think narcissist gave us the F a little.
People have gone as far to call him a bully and a narcissist. And I mean, the way he does talk to people in the game does drive me nuts sometimes. It's condescending, but I think like the way people just want to throw words out there, kind of like when Lisa was like, Angela, stop bullying me, because Angela called her a twit. I mean, it's definitely not a nice thing, but like, it's like when we automatically go right to like the worst case scenario, it's almost like Americans get criticized for using like the most extravagant words to explain something really simple, when it's like, it's something really cute. It's like the best thing in the world. And so like, I feel like that's kind of the situation that we're facing sometimes with these people, where it's like people just go right for the jugular, and it's like, was it necessary?
I'm sorry. I find it very hypocritical that all the people out there having these really big feelings about Angela, who is a fucking stranger to them, all are having these very big feelings because Angela has big feelings.
Yep.
Right.
That's so true.
It's not lost on me at all.
Pot calling the kettle
really
black.
Not. It's really not.
So before we move, we didn't really have to talk too much about week 4, but I do want to just get a quick little consensus. Do we think Quinn's deep fake HOH was successful or not?
Absolutely not.
It could not have been more unsuccessful. It really could not have been more unsuccessful.
For the most powerful power in Big Brother history, debatably, to go that haywire, that's almost an accomplishment for it to go as bad as it did. Like you have to be working so overtime to manage to do that.
You know what? I honestly think that he did what he could without tanking his game because everyone knew about it, and everyone knowing about it, absolutely his fault. I talked in the last episode about how production needs to tell them there's a rule and you can't tell anybody. They did that for Tucker this time.
Yep.
And that kind of gives them that security blanket there that if it does get out, like for whatever reason, you're safe because you're like, production told me I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
So there's no risk in keeping that secret. So I feel like, it is partly on production too for not making that role that he did tell. However, he did tell. And so it wasn't really an invisible HOH. And because it wasn't an invisible HOH, I feel like he did what he could, knowing he had to do it in the light.
What do you think does, and I know this was a couple weeks ago, so if you guys don't have answers, no stress. If you can think of anything, do you think you could peg like one of his biggest, if not his biggest mistake of the week?
Yes. I think he should have put Rubina up with Tucker originally, because I think they could have convinced Tucker to use the veto on Rubina.
I think that's very fair.
He had no reason not to use the veto, because they were just kind of like, maybe we're going to put up Rubina, maybe not. And at that point, he was getting himself a lot more insulated. But if he was on the block with Rubina next to him, I think he would have used the veto on her and take his chances in the AI arena. Because I don't think it was real to Tucker, the idea of Rubina going up, until she went up. If you put her on immediately, you're saying to Tucker, like, I'm doing this. One of you is going home.
To that point, it would have also been really interesting, because my point that I was going to bring up was I think Tucker going up on the block originally, I understand you can't backdoor, but giving him that extra opportunity was one of the big mistakes that I felt like he made that week.
Emily, you're shaking your head. I need to hear your thoughts.
So
Please weigh
dumb.
in.
So dumb. What is going through your brain as a super fan, as somebody who has watched all of this, whatever, as Quinn says he has. And I'm not a Quinn hater. I know they exist out there. That's not me. I think he's playing a terrible game, but like as a human, he seems lovely.
Yeah.
But what is happening inside your brain that you convince yourself, oh, well, he's probably going to get a chance to play in AI arena anyway. So like, might as well. What? I will never understand what was happening in his head where you were like, might as well give him an extra opportunity.
Because what if it just, for shits and giggles, what if the AI arena comp we had last night happened to be the AI comp that they had for week 4? Like, what if? We don't know. We don't know how things were changed if they picked a certain comp, because we do know that sometimes BB producers do like to kind of pick and choose where they put certain things. That's just the way it works sometimes.
Oh, production's fucking pissed about last night.
Oh,
did you guys see?
They're like, Tucker likes puzzles. Got it.
Well, Julie's little pre-episode thing where she was like, we know who you're rooting for. And I was like, or we know who you're rooting for.
You're rooting for.
I wanted Angela to win it. I really did. I actually
wasn't that far behind.
I know. I wanted her to be the one that like finished it. You know,
I would have lived for that, because she would have beat 2 like comp beasts too. Excuse me.
Yeah.
That just would have been that. If that had happened, I think that would have been more drama than we already got. And we got a lot of drama anyway, so not complaining. So I'll definitely, and then I will ask you guys the exact same question when we wrap up with a couple little things about week 5. Week 5 was Tucker's HOH. So that was interesting. I mean, he had the opportunity to take out Quinn and he literally saved him instead. I guess I could pose the question to you now if you think that he had a successful HOH, and maybe that gets the ball rolling. I think there are going to be people who say yes. I ultimately say no. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do anything I would have done. Like if I were him.
I think Tucker did have overall a successful HOH. He recognized the powers that be in the Chelsea and Brooklyn alliance, and that he did not have them as numbers. I think he recognized that while he didn't have Quinn, he also could beat Quinn. And Quinn didn't have very many people, but Quinn also had T-Core and Chemo, who Tucker had. So because he didn't want to create those waves there, like I think he saw 2 opportunities. Like I could go after this one person, or I could break up this duo. And this duo feels more threatening. And I feel like breaking up Chelsea and Brooklyn was the smarter move in this particular week. Lessening, because Chelsea had too much power going into that week.
Well, I was going to say, I am surprised he didn't go for Chelsea. I feel like Chelsea is a way bigger threat than Brooklyn, which is why I didn't love
I don't think he would have been able to get the votes for Chelsea this week. So he needed to break down her numbers in order to get her in a future week. So,
yeah.
You make me
I don't see a situation where Chelsea's on the block as of last week. I don't see a situation where Chelsea would have been on the block where the numbers would have been to vote her out.
Yeah.
I think it's hard looking in retrospect, knowing what we know now about how the week after turns out.
Yeah.
Because had he not gone on to volunteer himself later on, we would probably be feeling a lot different about how that HOH turned out, because he did reset the power structure in a way that ultimately ended up benefiting him. He just then completely canceled it out the week after. So
yes, exactly.
In retrospect, did he accomplish a pretty successful HOH? Yes. He just kind of then zeroed it out for himself on his own account immediately after.
Yeah. I think that's a really great point. Like I think in part, I'll be half and half on whether it was successful. I guess in the moment, it was absolutely successful. But like you said, if we're going to look long term, we might have even thought long term it was still a really good move based on just what was occurring in the moment. So I think that's a really good point. And I think sometimes that is something that not only we forget as fans, but like house guests forget. Like it's such a chain reaction when it comes to some of this stuff. And it can be so easy to get ahead of yourself, which I think Quinn is doing right now. And it's like you are in a good position to better your game. And both him and Tucker, I gotta say, him and Tucker are so stupidly similar.
So similar.
And what drives me nuts is that people will, and you know what I mean? I'm rooting for both of them. And well, obviously Tucker's gone, but like, it's like, just when one was making big moves, I was like, oh my God. And same with that. Why are people being like, I will love Tucker, but hate Quinn? What is the difference between them besides that they don't look alike and they are not the same kind of person? Is that it? That's the only thing I can personally think of, is that people have preferences in who they would like to get a beer with, hang out
Abigail.
with. What?
It's the edit.
Well, it is
it's the edit.
I feel like they both got really not great edits. Like Quinn.
No, Tucker got hero edit to the very end.
They gave Quinn a creepy edit.
But I was
going to all over Leah.
Well, they absolutely
and won't leave her alone. And
I think maybe
Tucker got the falling on his sword for T-Core and for in love with Rubina.
But I feel like a lot of people don't like that still. Like there are people, it's like the half and half. Like there are people who absolutely fawn over that, and it's just like Tucker till I die. So I won't deny that there's that huge crowd, but I do think there's a lot of people who still watch that and are like, I just don't care for it. But I do think that's a good point, but I think the edit definitely.
I think it's very, very hard to remove yourself unless you do what we do and we dissect the feeds and we are strictly watching the episodes, picking apart how they retell a story that's not true. And we want to see diary rooms. It's really hard for like your average viewer who's keeping up with the feeds to take apart those diary rooms of Quinn that are very villainesque, and then know what you know about the feeds and not see him as some like BB chaotic villain, and then see the Tucker DRs where he's talking about feeling bad for Angela and Angela betrayed me, but I still love her. And I wanted T-Core to have this money and I love Rubina. And so those are the DRs that we're getting from Tucker. And then we're also getting him doing these like big wild moves that are entertaining.
Like biscuits.
So people put 2 and 2 together in their brains. It's really hard to separate the two to understand that like they are the same, because the show versus the feeds marriage of the two are giving you two completely opposite characters.
Because a lot of what I've seen too is people saying like, oh, Tucker is so authentic. And then also Quinn is so inauthentic. And I'm like, what makes you say that? Like, what is giving you credence to feel that way, that Quinn is and I'm not saying he is or isn't, but what is your grounds to say that? Because to me, if he's a super fan of the show and has been like that for forever, and a lot of people who he went to college with have popped in my comments and stuff and are like, he is just like this in real life. And he is this great and this whatever. And so I think it's really interesting that is narrative I've seen a lot, is that Quinn is inauthentic for acting the exact same way Tucker does.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe as I think about what I was getting at earlier, maybe more of my issue is with the live feeders who have that rather than like if you take the casual audience out of that, I can so understand. I think my issue is more with live feeders, because like I'm a live feeder, we're all feeders. And I get when we pick favorites and we have people we draw. I have reasons that I probably lean more Tucker than Quinn, but that does not mean that I don't look at it and be like, they are the goddamn same player.
They're
same
so
ways.
similar. Yeah.
And to see, like, I think really maybe it's because I can be chronically online with BB Twitter sometimes. the way feeders go back and forth about these two, I'm like, how is it an argument at this point? Like, you can get pissed at both of them for just having their inauthentic moments, which is fine.
There is a huge difference between. I would say the biggest difference between Quinn and Tucker, though, and I see it and I recognize it and I empathize with it because I don't know how you don't. Quinn is a live feeder. He is a big fan of RHAP and Taryn and Corey Wurtenberger. So, like, it is almost impossible when this show, and I'm speaking from experience, is so much of your identity that you don't get too hyper aware of that in the game. And I'm sure he's performing some, and I'm sure he's in his brain having that case of, but his case of BB brain is that he's hyper aware of the feeds. He's hyper aware of what he has always dreamed of doing in this house. And it is coming across more inauthentic to a lot of people. Whereas Tucker doesn't give two flying fucks about the feeds and doesn't know about any of those people either. So he doesn't have that playing into his thought process.
That's a really good point. I think that's something as a longtime feeder that I tend to forget when we watch this, is that the people who know the show and know the feeds, like, we have actually like a conversation probably once, if not multiple times of a season, when somebody who knows the feeds, we've already had it this season with Quinn, explaining how they work. They'll be like, yeah, if the camera's got whatever button on, you can tell that they're live in the room right now, and they have 2 conversations live at a time, and they have 2 cameras on them at each time. And these people are like, wait, people will stay up and like watch us live? They'll watch us eat they'll watch us sleep?
It's
us. We'll actually watch you sleep.
We're bitches.
And unfortunately listen to you eat as well for some of them.
You sleepwalk, sweet Quinn, poor thing. I will always wonder, and I'm not saying, I want to be clear, I'm not saying do not cast sleepwalkers. That is so not what I'm saying. But it's like, I just wonder like how they go through that process of being like, so do you sleepwalk? Do you talk in your sleep? Because like, what if you had like multiple sleep talkers in the same room? If we're just watching the feeds and they're all just going, mom.
They never asked about my sleeping habits.
I'm an active sleepwalker. Like, I take meds for it, and I kind of wonder if they would let me have my meds at the Big Brother house.
I'm a sleep shopper
because I'll walk my ass out the door completely naked. I've done it. Done it many times in my own house.
Quinn had a moment where he was like standing over Rubina, and it kind of freaked me out. And he was like, "I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to." And she's like, "I get it. It just, no offense, freaked me out."
It's so funny.
But like, I think about it, and it's like I always have that. Like, Sarah and I have had this conversation multiple times on when we cover multiple shows. Like, it's always interesting to me to understand what meds are kosher and which ones are not when you go on a show, because like they're like, well, these meds are just to help people get by, but these ones are the ones that like give them the extra leg up. And I know doctors are involved, so I'm not questioning what doctors say, but I always find it really interesting when they're like, these meds yes, these meds no. And it's like, I wonder if Quinn has any access. I have no clue, just speculating. It'd be interesting to know, but also kind of private. I guess that's something we don't really need to know. But his sleepwalking won't stop, and it's gonna make me laugh every time it happens. AI comp winner for week 5 was Chelsea. That word scramble was god awful.
How many of us were screaming?
All of us.
Like elephant.
Everyone.
That was infuriating. That was hard to watch. I
want to know when they tested it with producers, how long it took them for them to think, oh, this will be so fine. Because it had to be at least half that time. Because if that had gone even it was so long.
Crazy.
I was getting the ick, and I'm like, I know people who just turned this on and watch casually are like, actually, what is happening? I have to imagine when they tested it with producers, it was so much shorter, and they were panicking because they were like, we would not have done this as a live call.
Well, what do you think that they had to cut because of that? Because we did get goodbye messages for Brooklyn.
That is true. Yeah.
They had time for goodbye messages, so I don't know what they ended up cutting out.
Ooh, that's a really good point. I'm like trying to rerun that episode in my head, maybe. And the only thing I can think of, but I feel like, now correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like they gave them the normal amount of time to strategize. That would be the only place I could think that they might have cut, where they were like, you've got 5 minutes to go do this, have fun, like on both ends of the commercial break, like probably 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there. I don't know. That's a really good point. That would be.
It still fucking infuriates me that we have time for a live comp on Thursday nights and we can't get the HOH.
I know.
We have to sacrifice one for the other, Sarah. Don't you understand?
No.
Don't you?
Inexcusable. It's
Oh,
fucking ridiculous.
Well, at least we got the wall.
Yeah, but why wouldn't they start the wall at the end of the episode?
I know. That drove me
why
crazy.
cut off the end? Why cut off
Did
the
we
end?
really give it?
I forgot about that.
I would argue no.
I'm
I
getting
actually didn't
so
stay
mad
up
all
this
over
year.
again.
I didn't stay up this year, and I was like really feeling upset about it because it was starting so late. I was like, dude, I gotta go to bed. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, I actually missed nothing. There was nothing for me to have actually seen.
Sarah and I were screaming on TikTok live.
Oh,
I was literally in my bedroom and I was like, I'm whispering on TikTok live because my boyfriend's sleeping. And
my whole house was asleep, and I was up here in the office.
I raised my voice. I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, is HOH not going well? I was like, yeah, wow, what a shock.
We couldn't tell you.
He knows Thursday nights are either a hit or a miss. So he woke up and realized.
No, the feeds went down and we stayed live waiting for them to come back up. And it was an hour and a half.
It was a while.
And they come back and the house guests are showering. And we could tell Tucker won. And Quinn and Tucker are in the showers and they're upset. Or Quinn's upset. And it's a very, I'm like, what happened? And then come to find out when they actually show it to us on the episode, nothing.
Nope.
Nothing cuckoo crazy. What?
For the suspense.
Can you imagine, Abigail? Can y'all? I don't know about what y'all did for the pressure cooker. Y'all all know what we did for the pressure cooker.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you guys did. I didn't stay up for it the whole time, but if I had stayed up for it the whole time and then they cut it out at the end, I would be pissed.
I was unwell.
I
was, and that is why I didn't stay up for the wall this year, and it served me well.
Yeah.
Honestly, at this point, though, and I mean this in all kindness, and Sarah and I have bitched about the feed cuts all season. Why do you think people are going to want to sign up for feeds if the whole point of watching the feeds is to get the early look at what's going on? And then they're like, surprise, you don't get to see. What's the point? Why?
I know. We're going to know who won the HOH in like 2 minutes anyway. So why
Don't
can't
you
we just
wanna
see it
watch the
happen?
episode for the
And here's the
suspense?
thing.
No.
But no, this is the thing is I can guarantee you the people that are watching the feeds are watching the episodes.
Yeah,
people
of course.
watching the episodes who are not watching the feeds, but I guarantee you people that watch the feeds still tune into the episodes. We want the diary rooms. We want the feed cut parts. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But like, so why advertise to watch an endurance comp play out on the feeds if you're not going to let us watch it? And that it makes it was absolutely absurd. It's on there like with shit list items that production did, like along with Zombie Week and Dire Fest.
I got
like,
chills when you
worst
mentioned
thing
Zombie Week.
Like I just the reasons I hate production or like my Karen letters to CBS include Dire Fest, Zombie Week, and now cutting fucking endurance comps at the end.
I almost, and I'm not here to defend production. That's not something that's ever going to come out of my mouth. To cope, have been like, maybe it's been tech issues some of the times. Like I truly have tried to convince myself because I cannot imagine, specifically for the wall comp example, because they advertised it to people who are just regularly watching the episodes. I cannot imagine, and knowing that nothing relevant actually happened.
So that's the other thing too.
But
they did it at the very end of the episode. They have always touted that join us next Thursday for a live endurance comp on the feeds. Make sure you're signed up to Paramount Plus to get all access, 24 hours a day, blah, 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 access to the feeds. They quit doing that.
True.
They quit doing that altogether. And the only reason that we found out was an endurance is because they put a little disclaimer on the site.
It's actually a really good point. Maybe they're trying not to advertise the feeds.
I know why they're
No, they want the feeds to be down. They want a reason to justify cutting the feeds and pulling a BB Canada and not having feeds anymore.
I don't think it's about the feeds. I think it's about Paramount Plus. I think oh my God, I can't believe I just made this connection right now. They don't want Paramount Plus anymore. This is just my personal opinion, speculation. Do not take that as fact. Ways I have seen them operate pre-Skydance merger and post-Skydance merger. Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't think about that.
But then they would advertise it on Tubi.
I mean, they could, but and I'm not saying no, but like, I think they're just like not putting the same effort in because they want excuses to write off Paramount Plus.
I think they want to get rid of the feeds. I've been saying this for years. I think that they want the feeds to be gone.
My guess is going to be Paramount Plus because they already scrapped all of MTV's stuff. Like all of MTV's like website is gone, or something like that. I haven't checked, but like I just know that they like scrapped a ton of stuff. And that just clicked with me. It could really be just the feeds, but I'm also wondering if it's a way for them to be like, see, this is why we don't need Paramount Plus anymore, or pawning it off to somebody like Max, which I really would hate because Max is going to screw with that way more than Paramount. And I'm not saying Paramount Plus is doing us favors, but I will call him out by name. I do not trust David Zaslav for the literally shit. And if that happened, I would lose my mind. And I'm not saying it necessarily would be WB, but
it is weird though. Something's definitely going on.
I pray that was the wrong answer that I just came up with.
Well, besides that brings us up to week 7.
Yes.
Or into week 6. Yeah.
Any thoughts on Brooklyn's or week 6? But anything that you guys wanted to toss out when it came to Brooklyn's exit? Anything you wanted to chime in about? Because we didn't talk too much about it. I love that she fought for herself.
She was definitely a strong player. You know.
I feel like.
Brooklyn's very polarizing. People feel a lot of different ways. People made a lot of assumptions. We know now from her exit interviews, her actual relationships with like Aaron and things like, and her connections. I watched her on the feeds to know that I feel like I like Brooklyn. She seems like a very lovely person, a very nice person. She did have a big heart. She wasn't a mean girl. She had petty game-like moments that I was here for, like the throwing of Tucker's. Like I'm here
me
for
too. Yeah,
do your shit, girl. I'm here for it. Do more of it. Actually, I encourage you. I think it's a problem with the general audience when they see somebody like Tucker do shit like that, and it's entertaining, and they see a woman who looks like Brooklyn do that, and they find it problematic. That's something that those women have to fight in and out, but like, girl, get it. I'm here for it. I really enjoyed Brooklyn as a person. I feel like if she hadn't gone this week, I could see her going really, really far. She had a good head for the game, and I really enjoyed watching her strategize.
I loved the villain role she played. She was really entering her villain era, and I wanted it way more.
I did
not
want
in
her
a mean
to stay.
way.
Right.
You know?
It's been so long since we've gotten good BB villains who don't also have some kind of like real problematic issues.
Yes, right. That if you want to just write them off.
Like her problematic issues being that she was eating someone's meat and cheese in front of them. Like that is what we deserve. And so I hate that she went when she did. It was a great game.
I agree. I wanted her to stay.
But I think
I can get her to our watch party. I will have a charcuterie board for her.
Good. Oh, we'll do it. And you know what? We should do it in a wine glass too, just to icing on the cake, because that's what she did with the prosciutto. It's all I could. I was looking at prosciutto last night, and I was like, "Ooh, I could put that in a wine glass, like Brooklyn."
Well, no, she was making prosciutto rose. She was making salami roses, which I'm very experienced in.
Not prosciutto.
It's salami roses or pepperoni roses. I actually do those, and I remember my youngest came in the kitchen. This is so off topic, but ADHD.
Charcuterie, it's always on topic.
He came in and he was just like, "Why are you drinking meat?" And he just told me. But what it is you wrap it around the rim of the glass a bunch of times, and then when you tump the glass over and you spin, it makes like a little rose out of the meats. It's very pretty, and I knew exactly what she would do. I was like, my girl knows her charcuterie.
That is still one of my favorite non-problematic feuds that we've gotten, because like Brooklyn got heated over too. What I liked is that it almost wasn't two-sided, even though it was technically one-sided for a little bit. As soon as Brooklyn found out about the fact that Angela was pissed, she was like, "Oh no, I'm gonna lean into this." And that's why I wish we got more of that, because like
Yeah, I agree.
somebody probably would have told her if she didn't already know that Angela was pissed about the charcuterie, and I would have lived for the little things that like
Angela laying on the ground silently crying about it was such a big mood.
So relatable.
I have
relatable.
relatable.
7 different memes from that 30-second span. I'm not even kidding. Like 7 different ones. The one of her sitting on the ground crying. The one of her wiping her tears while lying on the ground. The one where they're like spitting in on her. There's so many. She is one of the most memeable people that we have gotten on Big Brother.
Which is why I don't understand why people don't like her. They're always like,
I know.
"Oh, stop crying, Angela." Whereas I think it's just like, live your truth, girl.
Well, it's
Like,
been
you
interesting
cry
to
over that
see
cheese.
during the
I believe in you.
charcuterie era, people in my comments who normally are arguing that she is the worst thing that's ever happened, and they're like, well, actually, I kind of feel bad for her now. And I'm like, so that's your line? The charcuterie is your line? They're like, I think that was kind of Mean Girl of Brooklyn, and I get Angela. And I'm like, and it's the same people. And I'm like, I don't know what world we're living in, but it's not the same one.
No, I mean, I get it. I see Brooklyn, you're my girl, but like you mess with my meat. I mean, you touch my brie, no meat. Less.
Mm-hmm.
That's a brie.
Oh, mess with my meat might be my favorite quote that has come out of our podcast. Don't mess with my meat. Quote of the year, at least a nominee.
But yeah, I really enjoyed Brooklyn. I think that, again, like everyone in this house, she's a great casting choice.
I agree.
Yeah.
I liked her a lot more than I thought I was going to. Like when I saw the preseason stuff, she was one of my least favorites. And no, I gotta respect her game. I think she did a really good job, and I would have liked to see more of her for sure.
Yeah, I really, she's one of the people that, like, actually there's a couple people on this season already that I would be very quick to bring back if they were ever doing anything with returnees. Her and Tucker are very much at the top for me right now, and especially bring them back together for the dear love of God.
I think this might be what finally does it and gets them back on a cycle of bringing a couple in, because there's no way they don't want Tucker back. I mean, they realize they struck gold there, obviously with something like Reindeer Games, but I can imagine that being what brings it back to having a couple returners every so often.
As long as it's not a Paul situation, I don't care. I just don't need friendship. I just don't need, and I respectfully to Paul.
No, I don't even see Tucker back on Big Brother though. I see Tucker straight to the challenge.
Yeah,
challenge, trade. If he is not contacted, he doesn't have to get cast because it's his choice. If he is not motherfucking contacted, I'm gonna get angry about that one.
No, I need Angela on the traders.
I need them both.
Same.
Them both on, I would die. Them in the traders' castle together, I would jizz myself.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot more of Tucker. I really do. Amazing Race, he and Rabina.
Him on Amazing Race with like literally anybody would be so much fun. And I'm glad he didn't bring up, I'm going to go on the Amazing Race, because now we can speculate and be like, ooh, Amazing Race would be fun. Because the people who bring it up, I'm automatically like, no, thank you.
No.
When you bring it up, I don't want you. Yeah. You're going to be a jackass. Is when people go on the show and they're like, what show am I going on next? It's like, finish this one first. You're not done with this, and I don't think you know how well you've done with this show yet. So that's one of my biggest pet peeves when that happens on the feeds. I don't think we've had anybody say that this year yet, though. Just like, I'm trying to think.
No, not really.
No. The closest we've gotten is Quinn, which I think is probably one of the things that some live feeders didn't like, is Quinn was like, I can't wait for my deep dive with Taryn. And it's like, I get why that rubbed people the wrong way, because I heard that I was like, ooh, probably not the best thing to say, but the people in the house don't necessarily know who Taryn is.
I know Matt talked a whole lot in the house about doing deals after.
Oh, see,
that's all he
did.
talked
It was just so long ago.
Oh, yeah. Genuinely forgot about that, and honestly probably blocked it out because he immediately did exactly that. Yeah. Like, he's been hanging out with Matt Klotz and apparently Tyler Crispin, and I'm like, what a crew. What a crew.
Nightmare blunt rotation right there.
I saw today. I couldn't tell you if I remembered who it was. I would cite them right now. Someone said, "Do not let the Mats get their hands on Tucker for the deal.
I want to interview Tucker with Abigail, but I would fly to Boston to interview Tucker in person, but we would want to go on his YouTube show.
Because they garden.
They garden.
For the jokes.
He has a garden. He has a gardening channel on YouTube. So
does he actually?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, it makes.
And to be clear, we're not talking tomatoes.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
No. He's like
Even
reviewing
to
like
this day,
blueberry
I
kush
still
and.
So funny. So if you guys missed our live from the other night, we went live on eviction night. It was me, Sarah, Sammy, and our friend Allie, who we just mentioned earlier. Would have been so much more fun too if Emily was here for this moment.
Yeah.
I would have died for your reaction because we were all it was like a 5-minute conversation talking about gardening. And Sammy and
smoking
Allie,
weed. It's our show, Abigail. We can say this.
we're not on
our
TikTok right
podcast.
now. We're not on TikTok. Yeah, so we were using gardening to talk about like smoking weed and they not even
Allie.
judging. It's also a fairly new term on TikTok that I've only heard from like the last year or so. So I don't judge. I just totally wrongfully assumed.
And Allie was like, yeah, but I don't like it being this hot outside. And she started talking about tomatoes and realization dawned on me. And I was like, Abigail, they're talking about legit gardening.
Whoops. But yeah,
we did not
fun moment. But yeah, Tucker has he has a weed YouTube. Yeah.
He has a weed channel. He smokes weed, he eats weed, he talks about weed with his friends. And he seems like that person to me, which is genuinely, I think, why when I found out about it, I cackled because it's like that is the most Tucker thing that I think I could have ever imagined that I learned about.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, makes total sense to me. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, week 6 was Tucker's demise. We're going to probably continue to talk about him a lot here.
Yeah.
What I would like to start with is the T-Core HOH. Anybody can just jump in with any point.
Here's the thing. I thought everybody was just playing it quiet. Like, let's all be under the understanding that if Tucker's up on the block, he's got to go. But let's not say it out loud because when and if he wins, everybody in here snitches and someone's going to tattle. So no one wants to say it out loud. That's what I thought was happening. By the end of it. And it took Tucker, giving her an hour and a half long hug, shoulder rub, and head bopping together. But by the end of it, because she made it very well known to Quinn that like she wanted Tucker to stay.
Why she did that still, I get it. I do get it in ways.
Tucker was not bad for Tucker was not bad for her game. However, when you have somebody winning at any point in time in the game, if you have somebody who is winning the majority of the competitions and you have them sitting on the block, you need to take the shot. I don't care if they're your final two. I don't care if they're your number one. You need a reset to the comps. You know what I mean? Like you need to improve your statistics of gaining power in the house. I stand by that. Like winning competitions is not the game. Throwing competitions is just as strategic as winning them.
Yep.
100%.
But I feel like, if you have somebody in the house that is going to lessen the chances of you winning power when you need it, they have to go.
They have to. Well, that's why I thought it was really premature for them to go on his side of the house because this is the biggest target in the house. He could be the nicest person on the planet. He's the biggest target no matter what.
Which I feel like her relationship with him is fine. You want to be in good graces of the person who carries the power, but you don't want to like put your eggs in those baskets, and save him if he's up on the block.
Exactly. And that's why I was confused by why Joseph and Chemo voted Angela out. I really want to see what they were all talking about in the room when they wouldn't let Tucker and Angela come in, because they had to have known that he was about to be voted out.
They did,
So
but
why wouldn't you
Joseph,
wanna?
because Joseph and Chemo were genuinely diehard for Tucker.
I
Yeah.
know, but
When they were walking in
this
the
is the
room,
moment to save your game. Rabina's already gonna throw him a vote. He has a vote.
And it
He
is
has the pity
pre-jury.
vote.
Like, you're not like, and I
Yeah, he
do
can't
feel
vote
it
for
where
you
it's like
later.
it's not like that vote's gonna. I feel it on both sides. Like, but I really, it's like, why? Like, you're not burning anybody. You can, I won't say it like that. You can burn people, but you're burning a lot less people by going with the house in most situations
And
than
this
that.
is a big one.
He's playing a Dan game. I really think that Joseph is just like, I am Dan. Even if he doesn't think that he's as good as Dan, he still sees himself as Dan and is going to continue to play like
I
that.
do not see him as Dan.
I don't. You have to have a realization at some point. He doesn't. The difference between him and Dan, there's a bunch, but the big one for me, he can't keep his goddamn mouth shut when it comes to Lisa.
none of them can.
No, that's the beauty of this cast. Everybody is a yapper, and it's like,
They are
please,
big yappers.
please.
Well,
Every
as
time-
they're walking into the room to have that little meeting, and Joseph turns to Tucker and he says, "It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what they tell me." He literally said that to Tucker. We got that on the episode. I'm like, you don't
what
need
a
to say
way
that with your
really-
chest out loud like that, Joseph.
Right? Yeah. I love a split house, like a split vote. Don't get me wrong. I find it way more entertaining. But as someone who wants to be in the Big Brother house, I cannot imagine being on the wrong side of this vote specifically. Because the only reason you would vote to keep Tucker is if you were aligned with him. And now we all know who it was exactly aligned with him.
And the deciding vote. I can believe it because I think it was the person who was probably among the most torn. But it was just hilarious, I think, for people who didn't fully understand his connection with Tucker, having Cam be that deciding vote. When I walked him in, and I saw him coming into the potential tie, I was like, oh, he's not going to do it.
I was screaming.
I was so nervous.
Because, like, I just felt the vibe that's where the vote was going. I was like, oh, no, we got so close.
We unlocked a new Cam emotion last night. We got
I know.
We're now up to like 3.
He leveled up.
So proud of him. So proud. But I mean,
I was also nervous about that though.
As soon as I saw his face, I was like, oh, it's not going.
I know. I was fully prepared to have to rake all these house guests over the coals in this podcast.
Same.
Yeah. My God.
Yeah.
They would have been idiots if they didn't do it. And I would say that with my full chest. And
Same.
I can understand them being sad because they liked him as a human. But if the shot was there and they didn't take it, they would be regretting that the rest of the game because that might have been the only time.
The only person and I'm not saying that I think that this person's game is tanked, that they've ruined their game, but the one person I will criticize is Tikor. I don't know why you put 2 of your own allies on the block. I do understand that everybody's got a lot of ties, and at some point you have to make decisions, but like that's why we can't enter every alliance. We've watched multiple people already be bitten by that, and I mean, to be fair, it's difficult to turn down an alliance. You have to turn it down basically by saying, fuck you, I didn't vote for you. But it's really interesting to see how many people have really been taken down by not wanting to hurt people's feelings this year, or because they are so connected to somebody and having a hard time seeing the impact of the game. Because I think the move was not right for Tikor at this time. I think had anybody else done it, I'm not judging anybody for voting Tucker out whatsoever. It was such a bad time for that move when the house is so close to a split and she is in the middle of said split. That is just the last time you want to get rid of someone who is very obviously siding with you, has no interest in putting you on the block. I'm not saying don't even go for it in 2 weeks. It was just this singular week felt like the wrong time for me, and I'm disappointed. Not in Chemo. I'm not disappointed in Chemo, obviously. I'm not disappointed in Tikor. She made the move that she thought was right. I just am sad because it didn't help her game the way I think she wanted it to.
I think her issue all week was she didn't know what she wanted. I don't think she had a target in her brain. I don't think she meant to win HOH, not in the sense that she was trying to throw it, but she has said I really wasn't expecting it. She is a very indecisive person. When they did the flip before, it happened so last minute. Was it going to happen? Was it not? And so I think it ultimately ended up in maybe a resume move for her later on because she got Tucker out when nobody thought it would be able to happen that soon. But she didn't I don't think she wanted or didn't want that until she told Quinn that later and was like, I don't want him gone. But I don't think she decided until then. I think she truly had no idea what she wanted the whole time.
I think T-Core is the human. T-Core is like the human personification of like, do you know whenever you're so hungry and you just don't know what you want?
Yep.
But you know what you don't want, but you still can't decide what you want. You're like, I definitely don't want Mexican food. But that's about all I know. Like,
well, she makes the right moves at the wrong time.
Right.
I think there's like a little level of impatience that I think, like, especially when she and Chemo are talking, I feel like they get really hyped with each other and that impatience comes in. You know what I mean? And maybe not so much with this week, but at least with the original flip and things like that. Like,
the
I
2
just
weeks
think
prior, for sure.
Impatience.
And it's sad because I think they're just playing the game as fans and being like, yay, we're in a position to make a flip. We're in a position to change the dynamic in the house. But I just implore anybody who goes on the show moving forward to remember that just because a big move can be made doesn't mean it should be made, at least not at that time. It doesn't mean that it shouldn't be made in general. It's just timing is truly everything in Big Brother, especially when you have to sit on your ass for 7 days, and about one of those days time-wise is taken up in terms of strategy. I think that's something that a lot of people this season are struggling with. It is not, I mean, Tucker struggled with it hardcore, but I think T-Core and Chemo are struggling with it. I think Cedric was struggling with it. There's a ton of people that are having a hard time keeping their game in line regarding
Well, it keeps getting blown up, honestly.
Well,
I think I every week Tucker is blowing up someone's alliance or like being really loud. Angela just did it this week. So I think that's part of that too, is I think people are starting to get nervous just about what information can be said that won't immediately circulate the house.
Yeah, I mean, at what point I think we've already noticed like certain people are starting to get untrustworthy of others. It doesn't mean that they're not telling them things, but I'm just getting to the point like, A, when is that going to happen? And then B, if it does happen, what are the feeds going to look like if nobody trusts each other with information? Because A, us feeders will probably be like starving for information. We're going to be like, holy fuck, what the shit? What do they think? But I think we have too many chaotic personalities for that to ever happen. I feel like the game is going to be a chaotic mess until the very end this season. I'm not mad about it.
Which I'm here for.
Yeah. No complaints.
I think this is going to be more of who survives, you know?
Yeah, imagine someone telling you week 1 that Angela would still be here week 7. Like, we're just living in an alternate reality, and I'm not mad.
Production didn't even think that because they basically edited her the first few weeks like she was gone, and then
did damage control.
Had it back. Yeah, they had to do damage control. Yeah.
Where everybody was sitting around in a little talk show. Yeah,
okay, so question for T-Core. Do we think that her HOH was a success or no? We have it's a little bit of a different situation compared to the last two because we're
for her
post T-Core HOH.
For the house, it was very successful.
I feel even for T-Core, she can use it on her resume though. Like this could be like I got the biggest comp threat out of the house.
But is she going to stay in the house long enough for that numbers to be on her resume?
She is so well loved in a way that, yes, people love Tucker, but they recognize him as a threat. They don't see T-Core as a threat in the same way. For everyone to have been so overjoyed at her HOH and the way that they were.
And this thing today's talking about on every camera was just how much do we love T-Core?
She might be insulated enough that softens her fall from whatever, and she's fine. Like, I think this may not impact her in that way in terms of the power structure. Like, I think she's going to get pulled along whichever direction it goes because she is so well liked that I think it's going to end up being a success for her because I could see her still recovering and becoming further on and it being a huge resume move.
But that is going to highly depend on how she does this week. Again, it's hard. She says things and then just doesn't actually do them. The way she's talking, though, is that she's making it sound like she's going to be a lot more vocal and she's going to lean in, like her and Rubina want to lean into villain shit.
Yeah. But
I'll believe it when I see it. I love them both.
Exactly.
I will believe it when I see it.
When I see it. But also something that worries me with T-Core's game where it's at is like I do think that personally people like her and everything, but because she's kind of openly flipped twice now, I feel like people are starting to talk about her in ways they never would have before. So like MJ, for example, is like, I think that is going to be, it's going to be a T-Core versus MJ at some point, because I think MJ absolutely sees what's going on with her in chemo, who they're hanging out with, what they're talking about. She's told Leah and Chelsea, like, this group is with each other constantly. And they're always on the opposite side of the vote, or they're only pulling people in for their votes and then disposing of them. So I think people are starting to see it, but I worry that if chemo leaves, I wonder what that's going to do to T-Core's game, because I think people are way more focused on him and they're not fully looking at T-Core yet. But I feel like if he went home, they might start to shift focus.
I also wonder, like, what would happen if he's in jury and she gets really, really far. Like, if she gets to final 3, gets to final 2, I'm not like the way she's operated. She's kind of screwed him, because he's just the person. If they're going after T-Core and chemo as a group, they're not going after T-Core right now because they love her. So she's kind of unintentionally thrown chemo under the bus here. And she's thrown Rubina under the bus right now too. Like, two of her allies are now in absolute significant danger because of her. And that's where I'm like,
to be fair, Chemo also is throwing himself under the bus right now. I don't know if you guys watched his conversation with Quinn, where he was like, I wasn't gonna pick Tucker over you. Like, I definitely was on your, and like, just, I was cringing so hard because
Quinn doesn't buy it.
This is not doing what you think it's doing, and you're shooting yourself in the foot. So I also think I could see Quinn, as he typically does, running his mouth, trying to verbally take credit for the flip from last week, even though I think the credit really goes more to Chelsea and all of that. 100%. And he I can envision him verbalizing it enough that nobody even remembers that T-Core was the one that put Tucker up.
That is true, and he does want to keep protecting her. Like, Quinn is pretty much thinks Rubina and chemo are disposable, but he does want to keep T-Core around. So that is a really, really good thing. But if I were T-Core, I would worry about Chelsea and MJ. If they link up in a real way and secure that shit, I think we could have a really powerful alliance on that side of the house.
Yeah. I think what's fun about where we're at right now in the house is that there's so much that can change still, that, like, even if an alliance loses a member, we're getting cut to the stage of the game where in a lot of seasons it just ends up being the power shift back and forth between solidified alliances. Right. And I don't know how much you guys watch Survivor, but what this reminds me of is like when Survivor started moving toward voting blocks and out of just sole alliances. That was like I want to say around millennials versus Gen X, for anybody who's listening who might know what I'm talking about. And like, they started talking about, like, you have alliances, but then you have the voting blocks of the people where it's like, we know we need to target this person for our collective game. How can we do this? Even if it means not voting with our alliance every single time, if it means that we're still like, I feel like we're starting to get a little bit more of that in Big Brother, and I'm liking it, because for so long it has been, my alliance is my alliance. I will not go on my alliance. I will not change my opinion. I don't necessarily hate people who don't. It's just, I do love the drama that comes from someone like Tucker, who's like, fuck alliances. I am just going to put whoever the hell I want up. I am going to do whatever I feel. And is it right? No. But is it entertaining? In my opinion.
Highly.
And we haven't had a single unanimous vote all season.
Oh, I love it.
Compared to the trauma of last season with that. I mean, I am so glad that is the direction it's moving, at least this season.
Agreed.
I think AI Arena has helped that. AI Arena has so many pros, but also so many cons. And like, I think
it's over. Yeah, I every week I have a great time watching it, but I think it's overplayed now. I'm ready to see like normal Big Brother.
I think they're excited by the numbers that they see come in. Because I'm not. I had a tweet. I don't know why I didn't tweet it, but I almost tweeted it 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, so we're still doing this? It's like something tells me we weren't necessarily supposed to have AI Arena this long. They just
probably
like
not
how it's going.
I agree.
Like, I think the ratings for them on eviction episodes are probably way up. Because
I'm sure.
Personally, those were some of the episodes I wouldn't even tune into unless I was like watching for a comp. Because like, why am I going to watch them vote out the person I've known they've been voting out for 4 days? Like,
right? Yeah.
I think that was a really big help with AI Arena. Sarah and I have talked about it multiple times on here. The really frustrating part is that there is so much social game being stunted as a result.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to discuss things too in depth. They don't want to.
Because they have no control over who wins the AI Arena. So
Which
you don't want
us,
to campaign against someone all week. They're
Yep.
like, let's get them out, and then they win the AI Arena.
And it's like, oopsie daisy. I didn't say anything about you.
I will say, though, with Tucker being gone, I feel like everything's so much more unpredictable now in terms of like who's going to win
hilarious
what.
To say.
I know. It's unpredictable in a game way, but I will miss his social unpredictability. But it is nice to be like, who is going to win the veto? You know, like this is going to be wild.
Yep.
And now they don't have his seat to just throw him on. So now we're going to have to see a lot more blood on people's hands.
What did you guys think about the AI comp last night?
I would have rocked at it.
I screamed. I screamed when I saw Tucker putting them backwards. I was like,
I noticed it immediately. And I was like,
my casual husband was screaming. He was so into it.
I was watching on live, and I at first was like, "Oh, I also evidently didn't listen to the instructions well enough, and I was like, "Oh, what a good strategy!" So that way he can see them. And I was like, "Oh no, it makes all of it backwards." Like I processed it much faster than Tucker did, and I was like,
second too.
Yeah,
I looked at it and I was like, "Oh, is he doing it right? Is that the way you're supposed?" Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, and then as soon as
I think even if he put him forward, MJ was so far ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of it is she wasn't part of I Like Puzzles. So like we were watching Angela and Lisa struggle at the simplest puzzle you could really ever put together. I was just rewatching it because Danny's catching up, and I was like, I forgot how respectfully how pathetic it was.
Yeah, it was bad.
They couldn't even get literally the first one on, and I'm like, he didn't actually. How did he like run away with it? So I think my mind was kind of there, and I totally underestimated MJ personally. I was like,
agreed.
Damn, girl, that was impressive.
She needed that, and like I feel like she's finally getting in a better position in the house. And like the game is impressive.
She can have bad reads as long as she's in the house and she is keeping herself safe.
Yeah,
that does not matter. But I will say
a lot of them have terrible reads, though.
Everyone else's are bad reads about the house that they're in. Her reads are like she's living in a different house. Literally, I'm like, I don't feel like you even know who you're in the house with. And everyone else is like, oh, that's kind of a bad take. Her, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, she does get excluded from almost all the talks because she's like their permapawn this season. So I don't necessarily blame her. So I think we'll see maybe it be better this next couple of weeks. She's not going to be on the block. So that's, I mean, unless she's the renom, but right now, no one's talking about MJ.
I was just going to say, from what I can tell, I don't believe she is part of renom talks right now.
No, I don't think so either. I hear Joseph a lot.
Which is interesting. And we're actually kind of seeping into our week 7 discussion. So before we go into spoiler alert mode, does anybody have anything else that they want to mention about Tucker going out, T-Core's finally, or not final HOH, but her last HOH? Any more thoughts from this week that you want to share? Can be anything fun. Otherwise, we will jump ahead.
No? I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered it.
Gucci. Well, Sarah, I'm going to give you the go-ahead to put up our spoiler alert banner. And moving forward, just for the people who are listening, moving forward, everything is spoilers. Not everything, but
I feel like we already spoiled, but
I think we kind of did, but I think we danced around it a decent amount.
Fuck it. Who is listening to our podcast that isn't here for spoilers?
So I like to be respectful, damn it.
somebody got upset with me in my TikTok comments for not putting a spoiler warning on something. And I normally am very, very good about it. But this person was commenting 48 hours after a live action episode.
That. I hate when people
and I was
do
like,
that.
it's a live show. I literally basically was like, that's not my problem.
My opinion is if it's technically airing live, anything posted after that, you got 12 hours to put a spoiler alert. After that, literally the morning, too bad. For Survivor, I get that it doesn't air like a live episode, so I'll even give 24 for those, and I'll be like, look, I get it. Yeah. But once you hit 8 o'clock on Thursday night after that Survivor episode, bullshit, I'm not putting a spoiler.
You might as at that point, I'm just going to tell you, hey, and guess what? Bruce Willis died at the end of Armageddon. So
literally.
Like, it's just, sometimes people get I understand why people don't want spoilers, but my thing, especially since Sarah and I started doing this a few years ago, it's like, if you don't want spoilers, why are you on social media?
That's my thing.
TikTok.
That's my
thing. I get so committed when I know I can't watch an episode. I'm off everything. I don't go on Twitter. I don't go on TikTok. I wait until I can watch it on my own, and then I go back on and look at stuff.
I will put my phone on like the silent mode and be like, I won't even get notifications. I will check the apps that I get notifications from, so I don't get because it's just it's not hard. Every app besides, no offense, TikTok doesn't, which is a little frustrating, but like most apps give you the ability to censor what you do and don't see. So like TikTok I get because of the stupid algorithm.
You can mute hashtags though, and I hashtag everything of Big Brother.
Same.
You can mute hashtags from your For You page.
It's so hard. It's so
yesterday
hard.
I got that exact comment, but it was on my fan edit that I made like a week and a half ago of Brooklyn. They were like, I fear you have spoiled the episode for me. And I was like, what?
I fear
First of all, it wasn't even, I don't feel like it spoiled anything. It was just like a little song. Like
someone did that. There was something from like over a year ago when someone was like, well, glad I saw this. I'm like, this is over a year old. It was a Big Brother video, something about Paloma, and I was like,
that's so funny.
I love you to death. I do not know who you, and this is a sweet person. They were like, oh, I love your content, and I was like, I just don't know where you were living. I don't know what rock you were under. Like, how did you think this was? Like, my hair was shorter. Like, I was like,
that's so funny,
sir. TikTok can be really hard with spoilers, though. Which I think is why some people are so quick to be like, you didn't put a spoiler alert up. It's like, check the date on this video on my page and come back, because I guarantee you will really regret coming here and saying, you know, spoiler. Right. It's 2 days old. It's not a spoiler. So spoilers. Quinn is our new HOH for this week. Tucker knows, and Tucker's like, Tucker's reaction on Sharon's podcast was everything.
It was funny.
He definitely has some mixed emotions about it.
Oh, I'm sure.
I live for. And as we were talking on this episode, nominations have officially come back for the week of the first nominations. And they are Angela Chemo and Rubina. Rubina is the target. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense.
I agree with it. I think that's a smart move, because he is already having to split so many of his alliances with Rubina, especially with T-Core and Chemo, who were his like.
He spilled to everyone.
But the thing is, the ones that he's most concerned about were like the visionaries, and like he did notice a shift when they were starting to hang out with Rubina and Tucker and them, and I think it's a good idea to get out people that I feel he's going to feels like a threat to him and T-Core's relationship.
I just don't think that Rubina's a threat. Rubina hasn't won anything. She hasn't proven that she has no effect. Like, I don't think she has any social strategy to like be like, I made this move, so you better be careful. Like, she hasn't swayed anybody on anything. If she does, I'll totally take it all back. But like, I just feel like, why get out Tucker's showmance when there's no point? Like, it just feels like getting her out doesn't, like, I mean, the way it does help his game is he doesn't get blood on his hands with other allies, but I feel like he already has all the blood on his hands anyways. Like,
well, it's because he like already put Rubina up, but honestly, I'm calling it now. I think this whole thing is going to flip to Chemo instead.
I do think that Chemo's seriously in danger, which is part of why I had certain frustrations with T-Core last week, because it's like, I love you, but you really threw one of your top allies who was never gonna go against you under a bus unintentionally. And I know she loves Chelsea, and she really, really has that special connection with her. But I don't think she sees that Chelsea does not have the same relationship with her that she thinks she has with Chelsea, and it's gonna make me sad when that comes to a head, because that's
I still don't understand how T-Core doesn't see that though,
I don't
because
either.
she sent Chelsea's literally like right-hand man out the door. It would have been the same like if Chelsea had sent Chemo home.
Yeah.
Like, how do you repair that at this point? I mean, she has kept her safe, so maybe she can use that to be like, look, I could have put you up. I didn't. This is a new game now. So I think it's about how she like goes into that. But I do think that Chemo is gonna end up being more in trouble than Rubina.
I love when we get the dogs. Sarah's like, sorry.
I thought that was my dog barking upstairs for a minute. They have very similar barks, and I was like trying to process auditorily where the noise was coming from.
No, it's fucking Vader. I am incapable of recording one fucking episode without Vader opening in his stupid dumb mouth.
I love your dog. It's so okay.
You're gonna be so fucking sick of him by Monday.
I'm so, Danny's gonna just you're gonna tell him that he's gonna be like, I love dogs. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be so much fun. He's gonna be exhausted. I don't have patience for this anymore. Shocker. But anyways, so yeah, I mean, this really is going to be kind of similar to T-Core's last week. I think this is going to be pivotal, maybe not even just in the moment in time, but moving forward, this is going to have an impact on Quinn's game. If it has a positive one, I will shove my shoe in my mouth and totally be like, whatever. But I just worry. I guess I worry that he's not going to take out anybody else big, but like, where is he actually, I guess, aligned or in a position to do so?
I think my thing is it's so interesting that he has been, talking about Angela as his number one target in the house for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And now the last week you have to get her out, theoretically, they have to know at this point before she's a jury vote is this week.
Tank your game.
And he, she's on the block, but
because people underestimate her. For
that to not be his ultimate target, I just don't understand.
Me neither.
He's actually said post nominations that she's not his number one. Again, I love him and Tucker. Him and Tucker are the goddamn same person when it comes to shit like this. Where I'm like, how are you operating this way? How is your mind operating this way? And I would expect more out of Quinn versus Tucker. Tucker never watched the show. He was just like, fuck it. I'm just going to do what I want. Quinn knows more. And it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Getting much blood on our hands. But
he already put Rubina up, so that's like no new blood. Angela's not new blood. And I think Chemo is a ballsy choice to put up there, especially with your relationship with T-Core. But if he can use this to leverage an actual alliance with Cam and Chelsea, I think he'll come out on top this week. But it's Quinn. So he could screw it up.
I think Cam and Chelsea see him as way more expendable than they're letting on. And they're just here to ride it. And he's going to be really upset when that comes and bites him in the butt.
I fully agree with you.
Maybe that's just where I'm coming from, where it's like, if you're trying to protect these people who aren't going to protect you down the line, if we just made a big move last week because we wanted to get big people out of the house, why not go for it again? Reason being, I don't think the votes are there, but like, for the drums, I guess. That's what I want, but it's a pipe dream.
At what point, too, does Angela get the acknowledgement that she's good at this game? Because every week they're just like, oh, no, she's fine. She's fine. It's like, y'all, she's won more comps than most of you. Like, she has earned her place here. And she's, in my opinion, a force to be reckoned with. But they just keep assuming that the Cams and the Chelseas and the MJs are just gonna win all the comps and do all the stuff, and it's like, I don't know. Angela has beat all of y'all.
My boyfriend, who's a casual, who has watched little bits and pieces of different season, called Taylor Hale winning from like week 1, and
Yeah.
so that's
Same
his
with
that's
mine.
his resume. He has been saying all summer, he's like, Angela's going to become the most legendary player ever. She's going to win. She's
I
going to
wanted
win.
to win
And
so
so
bad.
he has been very pro Angela all summer, and so I'm very interested to see how her legacy continues to shake out, because she has done a lot more than a lot of them have, and she's still there.
And her game's a mess, but it doesn't. Everybody's game's a mess at this point. Like,
yeah, it's not unique to her.
Usually, a lot. It's like people have a mess, and then a lot of people have like their game sewn up, and it's like, ooh, look at the mess over there. But like this year, it's literally like there's a mess everywhere. We can't point fingers to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Sarah, you've been quiet over there. Is the dog barking done?
He stopped. He finally fucking stopped. So.
What are your thoughts?
I've been saying, I feel like, I mean, she is definitely a self-saboteur.
Same. Relatable.
Oh, totally. It almost becomes funny when her self-sabotage winds up helping her unintentionally in the game.
Well, like, I feel like she could just be doing so much better if it weren't for herself.
Oh, she is her own worst enemy.
Like,
for
yeah.
sure.
So, like, she'll have, like, a great week and she finds this great trajectory, and then she's like, drama, chaos, blah, 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 like, betrayal.
She might really be the only one that Tucker leaving was bad for in the end.
Truly.
Like, he would have rode to the end for that woman.
She cut him too early. She cut him too early because he would have taken her.
He was like, "You are going to regret letting me go. You are going to watch." And he said that to a lot of people, and every other person, I was like, "No, they're not. They're really not." Like,
it's Angela and Rubina.
Maybe because they go out in the next couple weeks, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm sad," but they're not actually going to be mad. The one person that's going to look back and have regrets if things don't go, if she's not going to win, is going to be Angela.
For sure,
like
100%.
They could have really powerhoused their way through.
They would have been the most epic final two in the history of Big. I would be like, give it to both of them. Give them both $750,000. Give them both America's favorite player. Like
we're Skippy is giving us some great Angela face zoom ins on the feeds right this second as we're recording, and it's just like as we're talking about her, the whole house is in the kitchen area. She's sitting there at the table though, and she just has the very like she's about to cry, but she's not, and just
legend.
I thought I could trust Quinn.
Oh, oops.
Oh, you're fine. Story of my life. I did that already.
She's doing some subtle eye rolls, and she's just paying attention. Like, she is upset.
Well, I just saw a comment on my TikTok that I was just checking, and someone says it's a steamroll without Tucker. And I genuinely couldn't disagree with that more now. Like,
I don't think people know what the word steamroll means.
Yeah,
to be completely honest.
I think they need to actually like look up what a steamroller is.
Or watch literally any fucking season from the last 10 years.
Yeah. Well, I feel like people haven't watched Thomas the Tank Engine, and it shows. It's like, if you're a child and you've seen that shit, you understand. Like, you know what a steamroller is. It's not difficult. You watch probably like Handy Manny, Bob the Builder. You know, it's not rocket science. And I genuinely, there are times I see people bring that up, and I'm like, what do you think of when you hear it? Do you think of like almost like an iron that's like a roller iron, and they're like, it's a steamroll? Like, what do you think it is? Serious question. So
Skippy is trolling Angela so hard. He had the zoom in of her where she's just sitting cross, and now he's just like doing this slow zoom out of Angela, and it's giving
she's
like
gotten the best footage this year.
It was giving like the feelings of like the Hulk walk away into the sunset. Did we lose Abigail? There we go.
Sorry about that. That was all my fault. Usually it's my phone dying, not my computer. So you can't win them ever for me.
She's mixing it up like this season is.
Love it. So a couple little things. So we've all been watching the feeds the last 24-ish hours. So there's no real answer set in stone. And I'll kind of be curious to see where our assessments are later in the week, but let's go over some of the things we don't know. Like, who do you guys think will win the power of veto? Now, we obviously only know 4 of the 6 players, so Maybe we can assume Joseph's playing again this week because he's playing every goddamn week. But
Right.
obviously, we don't know everybody. If we were to at least guess from this group, could you guess who you think would walk away with a veto this week? They are guessing Tiny Veto.
I know.
But
the house guests are talking Tiny Veto a lot.
Because it's indoors, I think they were told. And that's what. But Tiny
Would
Veto
they
has
do
been
Tiny
outdoors.
Veto the same week that they... Do we think they did the egg? We think that's what it
I don't
was?
know
We
that
think
they
they
would
would do that the same week?
It was the egg. Yeah.
Because those are
egg.
kind of similar
Yeah.
to me.
I don't think
Quinn confirmed that on the feeds.
so. I think that's a good point. I don't know if it's going to be Tiny. They're just guessing.
They're guessing it's Tiny Veto because they think it's like the week of Epic, like they're doing Epic Big Brother comps or something like, or notable.
Well, they're guessing Slip and Slide every goddamn week, and I need them.
Yeah,
to
they
stop.
always do.
They do that for
every
like
year.
It's not
Then
exclusive to
OTEV.
this cast. It's every year. Yeah.
Tucker literally was like, "What if they did OTEV as a HOH?" I'm like, "I need you to be so fucking for real right now. What the fuck do you
is
think
veto
OTEV stands for?"
backwards.
Maybe they do it. Nope, will never happen.
It's
Can
not called like
promise
ho,
you.
like HOH, you know.
It's not how
OTEV.
It's not the whole. It's the whole competition.
No, it's really hard for me to predict comps because this season, because how equitable they've been, and I'm here for that. I would really like to see the skee ball comp again.
Oh, I love the skee ball one. I
yeah.
would rock at that one.
That was
so good at
really,
that.
really fun.
Bowl arena's always fun, but that's outdoors, and if they're indoors, they will not. Get that.
Bowl arena is slotted though for this season.
Why they would not do it earlier is sad though. Like that's a thing that you want people to be on the sideline and be cheering you on for, not being like,
which
I'm
one?
gonna do this by myself.
Bowl arena.
The one where they go in the
I
they
love
spin
that
around.
one.
I would yak. I would.
Oh my god, Angela would be so good on that.
She would also be first out. She would be like, oh.
Yeah,
All I could think of is her going in that.
In the spinning chair.
Sitting in the chair. All I could think of.
I feel like we haven't, in terms of Angela memes, no one has appreciated enough the like shot of her crawling after the wall,
oh my god,
dragging her own
so
dead body
good.
off.
God, I'm literally
good.
obsessed with her. I'm gonna say Quinn is gonna win the veto. I feel like if it's mini veto or whatever, I feel like he would be really good at that. And if it's something physical, I think he'd be better at that. But Rubina, I could also see it too.
I'm gonna go chemo. My guess is gonna be chemo. Not necessarily that I am sold
He's
that
won a
but if
comp,
I'm
yeah.
gonna put a guess into the universe, I'm gonna say chemo. He's won something
yeah.
before. He won against. I know it was a memory comp against two big guys, but
the one that Matt said wasn't equitable to him.
No, that's not what equitable means, sir. And I love Kenny's face when he said that was just like, I'm going to just sit here and have no opinion on this comment.
Smart. I'll be rooting for Angela, but I think Quinn is gonna win.
Anything from you guys, Sarah or Emily? If you could just throw a guess into the universe.
I'm gonna
Not
guess
even necessarily
Angela
prediction.
That's what I want to happen. Oh,
Yeah,
there's my dog.
I'm. Yeah, I would really like to see an Angela win.
Me too.
I'd love it. Chemo or
I
Angela? I'd
would
root
love
for
it.
hard. Also, Angela winning a POV,
Would be so
her
good.
energy for the rest of the week would be.
Oh my god.
Phenomenal.
Insane.
So many ways.
Insane.
Oh, but that's another.
Actually, you know what though? If you notice with Angela, she's most tame when she's safe.
Yep.
She really only
Oh,
spirals with.
100%. Yeah.
So.
Oh, it's the second she gets insecure that she blows things up because she's just like, this doesn't matter anymore. And it's like, it does. Please don't.
Well, that's why her HOH last time was so good for her, because she had all of the safety and none of the power to have to make decisions to make her get stressed out.
And she still had HOH power, which
and
really
got the clout.
is huge. Yeah. Do you guys think Joseph's going to play again? What are the odds?
Yes.
Probably.
If Cam has a say, he won't have a say, obviously. But it's just, that blew my mind. So I did a little research today because we're getting up to the like we're entering possible record territory for how many times the veto's gotten used in a row. But I did do some mathing, and I did go through all the old seasons. I tried looking it up and I couldn't find it anywhere, so I did the numbers myself.
Nice.
If the veto is used for a 7th straight time, it would tie for second, I believe, with Big Brother 14 and Big Brother 19 for most consecutive uses of a veto in a single season of U.S. civilian Big Brother. We are not even close. Well, we're kind of close, but really it's going to be hard. We're not close to Big Brother 7. 9 in a row.
One of the best seasons.
Doubles.
God.
All of these did include doubles, but
yeah,
all of them back to back.
That's wild.
That it was 2006 when that happened.
Oh, I fucking need a double on Thursday.
And
I'm praying for a double. Please.
I know.
I fear that it's not because they haven't given us the warning.
So
to Sarah's point, they haven't warned us.
They haven't given us warning for anything.
I just fear it's not going to be the case because they didn't give us.
I think they're going to do it when they end the AI arena. Like I think that like they'll have the AI arena and then go right into the double where it's you just put 2 people up, and like it's normal Big Brother. I think that's how they're going to introduce it back to like classic Big Brother.
Who do you guys think the likely renom is? I know there's been some discussions.
I think it's going to be Joseph. I think it's going to be Joseph.
I think he's definitely in danger.
Either him or MJ, I would assume.
I've actually not heard MJ's name floated a ton as...
No, MJ is safe.
Still. It's still very early.
Safe.
That's I knew that if she won the AI arena, she was gonna get like
Quinn is all in on working with her.
Okay, cool.
Quinn is all in. Like she has no one. She could be a number for me, and he has pulled her in, and he is sworn he's keeping her. He's keeping her safe.
So then my assumption would be Joseph. I think it's gonna be anyone who basically didn't vote to get rid of Tucker.
Yeah.
And T-Core, thank God, didn't have a vote.
What was that?
They're getting down in the numbers, so it's hard to think like options are getting slim. That really, I mean, he's obviously not going to put up Leah, and so the option is Joseph. Like that's basically it because
we got a little bit more insight. Like Quinn was talking today in the HOH to Chelsea, and he's like, "Here's the thing. Like I was all in on T-Core and Chemo, but." Tucker was actively coming after me, and Tucker was actively coming after Cedric. And if we're in it together, why would you let Cedric go home when he is coming? Like he was going to help me against Tucker. Like what they put me in this position. So
exactly,
it's all. And he goes, and then after last week, and they were willing to like fall on their swords for Tucker. That was kind of when Quinn's like, okay, so we're not in. So they're all bets are off.
I know. I'm kind of wondering if he's really going to stay loyal to them at all.
No, he's not.
Or if he's just going to be
loyal to anybody. And I love him. I love him. He's got no think it's a loyalty thing.
He did have a loyal, like he was all in, truly loyal to T-Core and Chemo. I think he's had this awakening though that's not mutual. And now that he knows it's not mutual, then he's not going to stick his neck out for them. And if you're not with me, you're against me. And that's kind of his mentality going into this week. And I feel like that's the best he could do. Like that's the best game.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree.
And so he can get some true loyalty out of MJ by saving her. You know, Angela is a lost cause, so he doesn't have her. While Leah, he is fully aware, is like not in on him. He still doesn't think that Leah will come after him because she thinks that Quinn is a number for her.
Exactly.
So keeping Leah makes sense for him too. So really all he has at this point is if he can improve relationships with Chemo and T-Core, or he can build stronger relationships with Cam. And I think in doing that, what he's doing right now with Chelsea, he's going to do that with Cam.
I just fear that Cam just does pretty much what Chelsea says at this point.
100%.
Right, which is why Quinn is spending so much time on Chelsea too. Yep. So I think Quinn is also like honestly that he's playing this probably the smartest he's played this whole summer.
Yep, I agree.
He's also in a very precarious position to be HOH. I think that's part of why when I saw him come back as HOH, I was like, that's a choice for you to win this week.
I know. I said yesterday that I felt like this was the HOH he did not need to win.
I guess in a way it's good that he is safe and is keeping him out of the mess that is coming after Tucker. And I mean, after Tucker, he really could have been a big target. So I think there's pros and cons to it. I think it's major pro that at least he's safe, but he has now really thrown himself into a major decision-making role ahead of jury. And I think that
is hard.
Could really impact how things work for him down the line. Keeping the right people at this moment is going to be imperative, because this is really the moment where you're going to make or break your jury experience, and he has control over it at this point. And I'm curious to see how this goes.
I think it's going to be a good week.
I think the thing is, too, a lot of times when there's a shift in power, the HOH is who gets to help set that when it's happening. And he would have been kind of on the bottom of the power shifting with Tucker going home. And so I think this is the only position of that happening where he gets to be the one leading those conversations and setting the tone and deciding what side he wants to be on. And so between that and safety, I think he probably needed to win this HOH more than people in the house realize.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Curious to know what the order of finishing was for this competition. Who was he racing against? Was he racing against anybody? Was he blowing them out? Or was it it was him and Chelsea or him and Tikor?
Well, he said that Angela was talking shit to him, I guess.
I heard about they are still having drums about that.
I love their beef. It's so funny to me. It's the equivalent of the woman on the front porch being like, "Stay off my lawn," and the kid who wants to go on the lawn.
It's basically she's still doing the shame on, or fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Get fooled again.
Yeah.
All I can hear is George Bush whenever she says that. I'm like, please stop. Fool me, can't get fooled again. I feel like I'm dating myself with that line though. You have so many young viewers, I fear none of them will actually understand that reference. AI winner. Now, obviously, we don't know who the renom would be, but we got Rubina, Chemo, Angela. Chemo's already won one. Rubina got really close to winning one. Angela was kind of close this last one, but she hasn't won any. She's been in two. Assuming that's the final, that's our little grouping. What do you think AI arena wise? I'll never be able to say that.
I think Rubina takes it.
Sarah?
I think Joseph goes up as a renom and then wins AI arena.
Ooh.
Bold.
I'm just being saucy.
I think Angela for this too, if she doesn't win veto, because I don't think they want her to go home in terms of production. And I think they will make it something that she could be successful in. Does that mean it will work? As we saw last night.
A charcuterie board eating contest.
I do think you will see something that she could manage to do.
All right, for this contest, you need to lay on the ground and stretch.
And cry.
First to build a
No, you can't. Yeah, it can't be tears though. She's out.
I know. Oh, I love it.
Oh man.
If I was gonna guess, I'll go with Angela. But I think my gut says says Chemo. If Chemo's on the block at any point, I think he's got a really good chance of winning one of these comps this week.
I agree. Yeah.
So
they all are.
Sorry, I just had an idea. If Vito's going to be inside the studio and it's not Tiny Vito, because if they don't do Tiny Vito when they do the egg comp, I'm sorry, it could be the movie posters one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like BB Comics?
No, the movie posters.
Yeah.
Where they're they throw 3 movie posters up and it's past house guests.
Oh,
and it's the mixed,
they do that in the studio one.
Ooh, that would be a good one. That's a timed one, isn't it?
It's more of a Q&A, yes or no, true, false.
Yeah,
ABC.
I was thinking.
Oh, I think my brain is still going to BB Comics.
Yeah, it's the ABC one. It's whoever finds the correct movie poster. I feel like maybe they already did it this year.
They did. They did that with an HOH. Already
with the AI, with the AI pictures.
So I know where you were going with that, but I actually forgot until we were talking that they kind of actually did that.
Never mind.
But now it could be BB Comics because they have to be doing it this year. There's
BB Comics
Matt's gonna be
won't-
crazy eyes.
It's usually post veto. It's a veto. It's usually post jury. And it's usually closer to like 8, 7, and 8 because it's usually like all but a couple people get to play, and then those people are pissed because they're like, I wanted to play, and it's like,
and
then it's Zingbot like a couple weeks after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's usually interchangeable. This is the part where we go over voting scenarios for next week. Not a ton, obviously, because sometimes we record in a better position. So right now we kind of don't really know what the situation is. Really, my big thing is right now, if Rubina is on the block at the end of the week, Rubina is not in a good position to stay. As of today, we're recording on Friday night. So there's tons of time for all of this to change. But if you're listening now and you want to know where the house is sitting, it's pretty much Rubina is looking to be out the door unless something drastic happens where she gets off the block.
And I could see the flip on Chemo, though.
Yep. And then the question comes, if she's not on the block, what does Chemo versus Angela look like? If we have Joseph on the block as a renum, what does their vote look like? And what does Angela versus Joseph look like? Those are still pretty up in the air.
That's hard.
Sometimes we know.
I predict Joseph's out before Angela.
Really? Ooh, I like that.
It's fun looking at this because I haven't seen it visually like this with this few of them so far, and realizing how few men are left.
Yeah.
And it's wild. It's wild.
So uncommon for Big Brother.
Yeah.
It's so wild. It is. It really is.
Give us more strong females, please. For the dear love of God.
Well, and then we have this because I need to get your unitard ready.
All right. I still have some really good people left on my side. I have 2 real solid people in Joseph and Chelsea left. Am I confident in them? I don't know. But so yeah.
The thing is Chelsea's the only one I see jury votes for.
I don't know. I think Joseph's point in the game, yes, I don't see jury votes, but I mean, there's so much time left in the game and so much game to be played that I feel like the way he's playing Dan-wise, if he continues to play Dan's game, he will build up those votes at some point. I just want to be clear. I don't act like he's the equivalent of Dan. I'm just going off of what he's saying, and if he's going to continue operating that way, then theoretically, he would be building his resume more post-jury than pre-jury. But especially if it was like him and Chelsea, at this point, he is getting smoked. It's not even close. But for people who are listening, just a quick rundown. So Sarah is kicking my ass. Big time. She has 6 people left. I have 4. The people she has left are Chemo, T-Core, Angela, Cam, Quinn, and Rubina, while I only have Leah, Mackenzie, Chelsea, and Joseph. I did not pick super duper well this year.
Yeah, but I do think it's someone from Sarah's side that is going home this week. I really do.
I do think that Sarah is going to take an L this week.
Yeah. I think it's going to be Rubina or Chemo.
The only way it would be an L on my side is if Joseph does something to severely tank his game, which not right.
Which, I mean, he already voted against the house.
Yep,
and I think that's going to make a lot of people be like,
And I think Leah's wary of him, maybe not just as much, but in a similar way to where she's wary with Quinn, where she's like, I see what you're doing.
Oh, she has those men wrapped around her finger and trusts them zero.
No. She's the wild card at this point game-wise that I can't figure out where she's going to go long-term. Because, like, at least with MJ, if I'm looking at my side, at least MJ, we just know she is just clueless when it comes to what's going on in the house. At least Leah gets what's going on, even if she's not, like, fully participating in strategy. She is. She's that's why I say not fully, because she's having conversations, but she's kind of letting the game kind of form around her, which I don't think is necessarily a bad move early on.
Well, she made a final 2 with Angela,
which is a choice.
That was a choice. Final
2 with Angela is a choice for anybody. She has blown up every single one.
Yeah, but so is T-Core and Chemo.
Yeah, that's
and Quinn.
Lordy. But
yeah, none of these bitches be loyal. I'm telling you.
the only people that Sarah has lost.
Oh,
is
Angela
Brooklyn
is
and Matt.
sobbing again.
Oh, no.
I have seen some of the Feedmaster stuff. Oh my god. It's so it's just juicy. It's so fun. I'm living for it. But we are now finally at the end of this long podcast.
Very long.
Anything thank you guys for keeping up with this. We do hope to be posting more regularly. This was just it's been a really busy, insane summer. Just in general. And it's been super fun though to talk to people like Sammy and Emily and really start forming a more cohesive group. Like a lot of times I think it's just been me and Sarah doing a lot, and it's really nice to have more people really
More
want
voices,
to
more
engage, because it's more fun when everybody's involved and
Oh yeah, for
you
sure.
don't speak into the void.
Yeah,
That's my thing. I just
100%.
started posting on TikTok this year, and I'm like, this is so much more fun than shouting into the void on BB Twitter that no one is listening. And now
So
people are talking back. So
And you get more followers because people, well, first of all, the engagement's just 10 times better. And then you don't get all the Twitter haters who are, well, you get the TikTok haters, which are
It's our
their own
BB
breed.
family.
They're their own breed, but BB TikTok.
Our BB family is awesome.
I love it so much. Any
It's
final
been really
thoughts, you
fun.
guys?
No, I'm very excited for this
Yeah,
week.
I don't think so. I'm excited.
I'm excited to see you.
I know. Yes, that's the other big thing. Before we hop off, Sarah and I are finally meeting up for the just words. It's been about a year since we last met up. Sarah came out here to Boston, and now I am going out to the DFW area. So I'll be getting in Wednesday night in the middle of the episode. So I won't be able to do anything with that episode that night. But the following night, we will be having a meetup at the Mad Hatter. It is going to be super duper fun. We're going to watch the live eviction episode. Kat Dunn's going to join us. We have BB themed cocktails. We're going to have a photo wall.
Try to get Tucker down there too.
I was telling Sarah it would have been great, but fingers crossed that we can see if maybe Brooklyn is interested. We'll see. Speaking of meetups, I'm also working on organizing a Boston meetup for early October before the season ends. And there is an alum that is very interested in joining us. So once we can get that nailed down, I will let you guys know who that is, just so I don't.
So many
Get everybody.
wild card Boston players. It's like, ooh.
When we get off
Who
and
should
you
I
hear it, I'm
expect?
curious to know what your response is going to be.
It would be a lot easier for me to hit up Boston though, so I might come to that one.
Come join. Also, speaking of, I guess I might as well just throw it out into the universe. I'm also going to be going to at least one, if not both, of the NYC Survivor meetups this year. So I will be out there for
Sick.
the premiere on September 18th. And then, assuming Bryce and Wen changed their dates around, so I'm kind of not sure if they're going to be there for the finale. If they are, I'll be in New York City for the finale as well. So, anyways, with that, anybody got
Loved having you guys. Thank y'all for joining
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank
I've
you for
been
having us.
enjoying this so much.
Of course.
Make sure you guys are following Sammy and Emily. We're putting their TikTok @s for our YouTube viewers. So please go give them a follow. And we hope to be doing more of these in the future.
For sure.
Yes. But for that, I will
100%.
do my official wrap up. This is the last moment of the episode of Wicked Unscripted. If you hear, Jesus, I just can't read tonight. Why don't I just walk away? I'm trying to recover mid-sentence from making mistakes. And it's 10 o'clock. I don't read. No, but that wraps up this episode of Wicked Unscripted. If you like what you hear, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and review our podcast. I just can't anymore. If you want to follow our TikTok accounts, we've already shouted them out. You can get to the beginning of the episode. That's probably the easiest way if you don't want to watch the YouTube video and go through all of this again. If you want to ask a question, share your thoughts, or leave us a tip, email the podcast at wickedunscriptedpod, that's POD, @gmail.com for more. wickedunscriptedpod @gmail.com. We are always looking for fresh and diverse voices to join the conversation, as you can see. And with that, we will see you next time. And thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.